expecting a load shedding. Can you all remain standing for a moment of silent prayer and meditation? Thank you. You may all be seated. Can I take this opportunity to welcome our Honorable Premier, members of the Executive Council, leaders of political parties, members of the provincial legislature, ladies and gentlemen, our guests, you are all welcome in today's meeting. We have received the following apologies. Honorable Mpisi, who is not well, Honorable Sirota, who's attending to an urgent party business, Honorable Shabalala, who has a doctor's appointment, Honorable Dikhude, who's also not well, Honorable Zimba and Honorable Sindane can be in a meeting, no reasons given. These are the only apologies that have been received by the office. Let me first remind members not to forget to complete your members' register, of which the closing date is the 18th of March 2019. And the office to submit to is that one of the Integrity Commissioner. Thank you very much. Let me pass my heartfelt condolences to the Freedom Front Plus and Honorable Van Staden, including the family, for the loss of Ms. Liebenbeck, who is the party secretary in that office, but working here at the legislature. We are with you, and I hope that the Almighty God will be with you and the family throughout this difficult period. Thank you. Those are the announcements. Honorable Van Staden.
Madam Speaker, no. It's with a very sad heart that I'm standing here this morning with an unexpected passing of my party secretary. The funeral arrangements is for this coming Friday. It was already circulated via email, and everybody who wants to attend is more than welcome to do so. I just want to take this opportunity to thank her for a very hard and loyal work the past 25 years in this legislature. She was started working here in the legislature even when the legislature was still situated at Treasury, just after 1994. And she moved here to the City Hall with everybody here who's sitting here and who's still working here. So she came a long way with us, with me personally, the past 15 years, close by day, every day on my side, 24/7, in a year, in a month. So I just want to take this opportunity and to thank the Members Affairs Committee and the Speaker's Office as well for the understanding, support they gave me since yesterday, and the family as well. We will miss her dearly. The funny thing is, Tuesday when we walked out of her sitting here, and she has never done this in her life, she looked back to the legislature before in front, and she said, this is the last time we're going to walk out of here. And I've said to her, we have another term coming, we have a budget speech today, we will be back. And nevertheless, I know what will happen on Saturday night. She was a very hard worker. She has worked till the very end. We had our manifesto launch on Saturday in Pretoria, and she was working there as well. But she left early for her grandson's birthday on Saturday. He was turning 3. And they had the braai at home, and at 9 o'clock, she got a heart attack on Saturday night, and she died instantly on the scene. So thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you to all of you, all the members, all the staff members in this legislature, We had a special bond with Christel over the past 25 years. And I thank you dearly for everything. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. We understand the pain. I hope it's only God that can lower the pain. Thank you. Any other member? Honorable Mukhale? Honorable Mbata, noted.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. We note with deep disappointment that the DA-led Midvaal municipality...
Can I stop you, Honorable Mukhale? It's not yet member statements, it's announcements.
Okay, no, let me announce.
Okay.
Okay, I will announce. I will announce. Can I announce?
No, but I have your name for... Do you want to...
Thank you very much, Speaker.
Honorable Mukhale.
An announcement...
Honorable Mukhale, I want to establish, you want to do an announcement and a member statement?
Announcement.
Okay.
It's an announcement.
Okay.
Maybe I made a mistake by saying we note, but let me announce that the DA-led municipality in the Midvaal, that the deputy municipal manager, Mr. Tom Peters, is accused of selling jobs in exchange of sexual favors, and also further that he is accused of filling a post before they are even advertised. It is an announcement, and also the ANC welcomes the decision to release the unqualified officials from the Tswane. I'm sure Member Solum Simang knows about those from their high-ranking positions. It is, however, a worrying trend that the ANC needs to approach the public protector first before the unexperienced DA can act or listen. So before they listen, Speaker, listen please, DA, so that you can learn. Can you please listen? This is another victory for the ANC for forcing the DA to do the right thing in their led municipalities. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, please, if it's an announcement, let it be an announcement.
Yes.
Because member statement is still coming.
Yes.
Yes, Khatebe.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I am Khadebe. Wish to make a member statement with regard to the processing of the Money Bills Amendment Procedure and related matters bill.
Point of order,
the
Madam
bill
Speaker.
has been published in the Gazette.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
And all notices will be published in various newspapers.
Sorry, let me hear the order.
I'd like to ask, have you called on the order paper for member statements yet? Or are you still busy with
Not member statement, it's an announcement.
Then maybe he should hold back.
Honorable members, I'm on announcement. Is there a member who wants to issue an announcement? If there is none, I'm now dealing with member statement, starting with Honorable Mbata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The scourge of violence against women continues to be an ugly stain on our society. The incident witnessed recently involving Bongigile Simelani and her partner, Mandla Mapumulo, via social media is testimony to the lived reality many women sadly often at the hands of their partners. Accordingly, I call upon all members of this House to condemn in the strongest possible terms this incident, along with the phenomena of violence against women and children. Madam Speaker, we know too well the incident is also a manifestation of gender relationships in our society characterized by domination of patriarchy. We must therefore as men proclaim loudly and sincerely and say, not in our name. Dealing effectively with this scourge will require a societal approach, with men taking the lead in undermining patriarchy and violence at all levels of society, beginning in each of our homes. I thank you.
Announcement is, yeah, Honorable Mashiko, I'm on member statement now. Honorable Mbata, Honorable Khatebe, I want to establish whether you still want to do your member statement.
Thanks very much, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I am...
Point of order, Rule 89. We are always harassed about following processes and rules. No, don't close it.
Honourable Mashiko,
you are asking him if he still wants to make a member statement. The issue is, has he followed the process that is required by your office and proceedings to make a member statement? Because a member statement, he can't make it if he hasn't followed the process. And I'm confused now because you noted him for an announcement. He realized that it wasn't a member statement and yet he said member statement. You then told him to sit down. You're coming back under member statements and you are saying that you are asking him, do you now want to make a member statement? That suggests that the process which is followed has not been followed. To make an announcement under announcement, you are refusing.
Honourable
You're so
Mashiko.
biased.
Honourable Mashiko, I was checking whether Honourable Khatebe still want to continue with his member statement. Remember, as he was speaking, there was an order, and we're not supposed to be having an order under this particular section. But I had to listen to both of them.
Sorry,
no,
point
don't
of
even
order.
discuss, don't debate.
No,
not
but
time
it's a
for
point of
debate.
order again on what you've just
Because
said.
I can't
my
call
point
a
of order
member
is
who
on
has
the
not
basis.
followed.
Sorry, my point of order is
But
on the
who
basis
asked
of
you to talk?
rules.
Who asked you to talk?
I'm speaking because I've raised the point of
But you're
order.
not allowed to speak.
On the basis of rules, you need to answer my question. Has he followed the process required from all of us before we can make a member statement? Otherwise, the rules are pointless. Why have we been following them for 5 years?
On the basis of the rules, you are not supposed to speak unless I give you permission to do so. Honourable Khatebe, do you still want to continue?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Yes, I want to continue. I am Khatebe, wish to make a member statement with regard to the processing of the money bills amendment procedure and related matters bill. The bill has been published in the Gazette and all notices will be published in various newspapers circulating in the province this week. We would like to invite all the members to support this process, as this will enhance the oversight mandate of the legislature. We will be holding 2 public hearings next week. We further invite Treasury to take part in this process. Thank you very much.
Honourable Mkhali, I take it that you are no longer going to do the statement?
I will take it, I will do it, Madam Speaker, because I didn't do the other part of we note with disappointment that the DA-led Midvaal municipality through their mayor have confirmed that indeed the deputy municipal manager, Mr. Peters, is accused of selling jobs in exchange of sexual favors. He is further accused of selling posts before they are even advertised. It was in this house that last week that Member Solum Simang was advised not to accuse ANC women of climbing the corporate ladder through sexual favors.
What point of order, Madam Speaker?
It was as if he was aware that it is a norm in the DA. We also feel the African National Congress has noted the dismissal of the spokesperson in the office of the executive mayor, Mr. Sam Ngobozi, and the executive head in the private office of the executive mayor, Mr. Stephen van Villiers, who was being summarily dismissed from the post. This is this is in response to the report that came as a result of investigations by the public protector and the city manager last year, probing the lack of unqualification of the qualification and irregularities in the appointment
Honorable Mukhali,
after
time
the
up.
ANC brought this matter
Time up, Honorable
to
Mukhali.
the fore. Thank you very much,
Time
Madam
up.
Speaker.
Madam Speaker?
Is that a member statement?
No.
So if it's not
Point
a
of
member-
order, Madam Speaker.
No, 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 no. Honorable
Rule
Msimang,
90.
Honorable Msimang, with due respect, you can't make a point of order in this section. I said it when I was speaking, when Honorable Muriat was speaking, I said it when Honorable Mashiko was also saying. Because I know that you want to respond to what has been said.
Leave my
That
name
is
out of it,
unprocedural.
please.
No, but
Don't
No.
make
Madam
a point
Speaker,
with my name.
Can we put it on record?
Honorable Msimang, can I
Can we
rule
put
you
it
out
on
of
record,
order?
Madam Speaker? You said you are going to
Honorable
investigate.
Msimanga.
No, Madam Speaker. You said you will investigate the fact that I was accused of saying ANC women are sleeping the way to the top. And you said you will come back to us, and you haven't done that. And again, it's being repeated here, Madam Speaker. I want to put it on record that I want you to bring the hindsight
Honorable
and the
Msimanga,
recording
can you
of it,
respect-
and let us see where that is being done. We are not going to allow the ANC to tarnish our name by spreading lies, and that is the
Honorable
lies that they're
Msimanga.
telling here.
This is not Council of
Speaker, point
Tshwane,
of
this
order.
is the
Madam
legislature.
Speaker, point of order. In terms of Rule 90, in
Honorable-
terms of Rule 90,
Honorable Lorima, can you sit down? I have
you
not
cannot
allowed you
make
to
me
speak.
sit down until you give me which rule you have
Honorable
made your
Lorima.
ruling under. Give us your rule under which you make that ruling that we cannot raise a point of order in this part of the agenda. When you do that,
Honorable Lorima.
no.
Honorable Lorima, can you sit down, please? I've not given you permission to speak.
I stand on point 90
I
of
have
the
not
rules.
given you permission to speak. You know, honorable members, I said it 2 weeks ago that in this Gauteng province or in South Africa, we don't have a minister of happiness. Please, when other members are speaking, give them an ear, and if you're not happy, the due process should be followed. And Honorable Msimang, don't be opportunistic. You know so well that in the past week I was not around. And yeah, that's the problem. If you think you're a boss, that's the problem. Because you're not going to respect the decorum of this house. Can I therefore go to the next session, which is motion without notice in terms of Rule 120? Honorable Kanyile.
Thank you, Speaker. I, Sotaile Kanyile, ANC Chief Whip, hereby table the following motion in terms of Rule 121, read together with Rule 122 as follows. Noting that the Gauteng Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill, G004 of 2019, was not programmed for today's sitting of Tuesday, the 5th March 2019. Therefore, request that the House resolve to add the Gauteng Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill, G004 2019, to this sitting of Tuesday, the 5th March 2019. I so move.
Any seconder to the motion?
I rise to second.
Seconded. I now want to put a question. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those not in favor say no. The yes of it, the motion is adopted by the House. Let me recognize the following stakeholders. With us, we have members of the mayoral committees of finance and councillors present from municipalities, representatives from the Auditor General's office in Gauteng, led by Mr. Kele, who's the executive, business executive in that office, and the deputy, including other team members, senior officials of government and municipalities, representatives of business, organized labor, and civil society. We also have the NGO sector, the Sozo Foundation from Katlehong, Tiang Basadi from Katlehong, Johan Deo Home Based Care from Pulukong, the Pulukong Youth Alliance, the Atteridgeville Sourceville Senior Citizens, Pulusong Cooperative, the Sanko, from Tshwane, Atteridgeville, the Community Policing Forum, the SGPs, Traditional Health Practitioners Region 3, Aritshwaraneng Old Age Club. Those are the stakeholders that we have. I'm also told that Zahara was on her way. She had a car breakdown, but she wanted to listen to the budget speech, Honorable Chrissy. That's what I'm told. I'm sure as soon as she is here, we'll usher her to you. Thank you very much. Let's read the first item, Secretary.
Introduction of the Gauteng Provincial Appropriation Bill, G003 of 2019.
Honorable Chrissy.
Madam Speaker and Deputy Speaker, Premier David Makura, fellow members of the Executive Council, the Chief Whip, Honorable Sokayile Kanyile, leaders of political parties, members of the provincial legislature, MMCs of finance and councillors, representatives from the Auditor General's Office, senior officials of government and municipalities, representatives of business, organized labor, and civil society, distinguished guests, comrades, and friends. I am honored to present to this House the fifth and final budget of this administration, as well as our medium-term projections for the next 3 years. Let me begin by tabling the following documents for your consideration. The Appropriation Bill for 2019, the explanatory memorandum to the bill, estimates of revenue and provincial expenditure, estimates of capital expenditure, the socio-economic review outlook, and a copy of my speech. Honourable members, throughout this term, Gauteng residents have advised us each year on where we should deploy our resources. True to the Gauteng spirit, this year, more than 150,000 residents participated in our online campaign, #GP Budget 2019. We received more than 1,800 written submissions. We had guidance on where we should spend money, how we should save precious resources, and ways to grow the economy of our province. Top of the agenda is the call for provincial government to invest in education and to do more to equip young people for the workplace with the skills they need now and in the future. 7 out of 10 contributors mentioned the importance of supporting small enterprises and township entrepreneurs to create work opportunities. There was a loud call for government to invest more in renovating industrial parks and regulating illegal businesses. Many stressed the importance of using government's procurement muscle to provide market access for emerging enterprises in areas like infrastructure construction and maintenance. A strong call was made for government to make it easier for SMMEs to understand what support is available and how it can be accessed. Many asked that more be invested in employing doctors and nurses in hospitals and clinics so that the quality of service improves and health practitioners treat patients with care and dignity. Some of our residents asked that more be spent on improving road infrastructure and building our public transport system. Others complained about environmental conditions in the province and demanded more be done about illegal dumping and littering. There was widespread condemnation of wasteful expenditure and support for greater transparency and accountability in government contracts and tenders. Public servants who are self-serving, dishonest, corrupt, and incompetent came in for the harshest criticism. Honourable members, the 2019 Gauteng budget I table for your consideration today does its utmost to respond to this important council. It sets out how this provincial government funds our commitment to transforming and growing our province and our support for small enterprises and township businesses. It highlights our significant progress in improving education outcomes and supporting young people to get the skills they need now and in the future. It shows how, through investing in social and economic infrastructure, we're improving the conditions of life for all our residents. It speaks to our work in building social cohesion in our diverse province, so we secure a future for all our people. We explain here that in Gauteng, we have built our financial management capacity to root out waste and ensure hard-earned taxes are spent directly on providing quality infrastructure and services. This budget addresses the measures this administration takes to keep pace with service needs in a context of tight budgets at national level. We can proudly say, honourable members, that the 2019 budget I table today is indeed a Gauteng people's budget. When Minister Tito Mboweni delivered his budget speech in the National Assembly on the 20th of February, he indicated that our economy is recovering slowly but steadily from the technical recession. Restrained growth means lower than expected revenue collection. Because government is committed to ensuring sustainable finances, we must all help contain the budget deficit and stabilize public debt. In the State of the Nation address, President Ramaphosa indicated that only faster and more inclusive growth will expand employment and raise the revenues needed to support social development. Gauteng Province is now a home to 1 in 4 South Africans. As the economic and industrial hub of our country, we have a special role to play in promoting faster and more inclusive growth. Today, nearly 5 years since the introduction of the 10-pillar program of transformation, modernization, and reindustrialization, Premier Makure is able to confirm the significant contribution Gauteng Province is making to our national economic recovery.
I'm rising
effort.
on Rule 89.
This is a budget speech.
No, but this is important, and the point of order is allowed. You can't collapse the rules as and when you feel like.
Can you hear the point
Please,
of order?
it's, you know, I don't understand why you always have to be so defensive and listen to the
allow
peanut
you to
gallery this
speak,
side. You
Honourable
are the
Mashiko.
speaker, you must preside. We don't have the copy of the speech. We are sitting here as members of the legislature. We are watching staff members hand over the speech to staff members first, and then the African National Congress staff members hand it over to the African National Congress. We are here representing 50,000 people who voted for our parties per seat, and we cannot be undermined like that. We cannot be undermined like that and allow you to continue undermining us like that. You start with employees, you come with the ANC, what do you call that?
Honourable Mashiko, that's not a point of order. The point of order is based on the procedure. If you need a document, you don't have to interrupt. Can I ask Honourable Chrissy to continue. The secretary will attend to your request. No. Honorable Chrissy, can you continue the speech?
Over the past 5 years, Gauteng has attracted 199 billion in foreign direct investment and created 469,000 net jobs. In the course of the coming year, 40 billion will be invested by the private sector in new and expanded industrial developments across the province. Gauteng is now the best performing province with regard to grade 12 results, both in terms of the absolute number of students who passed matric and the numbers who qualify to go to university. Through TSEPO 1 million, over 500,000 young people have benefited from bursaries, learnerships, internships, and entrepreneurial training. This enables our most productive citizens to more easily enter the economy and to use their skills and abilities to better our province and their own lives. One of the contributors to hashtag GP Budget 2019, Priscilla Motswani from Katlehong, had this to say: "When I finished my studies, I was miserable after spending a year looking for work. But now I have an internship linked through the YES program. So I think Gauteng must continue with initiatives such as TSEPO 1 million. As far as I know, this is the only big provincial youth initiative that has been able to assist a lot of young people find job placement or use their energies to start businesses. So I say yes to TSEPO 1 million. Nadia Nagia from Randfontein says, "My brother was placed through this project, and I have seen a lot of changes in his outlook on life. He is motivated and believes in achieving his dreams. Before he was stressed, without direction after finishing his studies at UJ, because he was struggling to find a job. Over the past 5 years, we have invested 53 billion in infrastructure, building schools, clinics, hospitals, libraries, roads, public transport, broadband, and industrial parks. This has massive social and economic benefits for the people and the economy of our province. The success of our Welfare to Work program has far exceeded our expectations, with 36,000 young mothers who used to be dependent on the Child Support Grant now self-employed through training and skills development. Over the past 5 years, Gauteng has spent 74 billion on procuring goods and services from businesses owned by historically disadvantaged individuals. This includes procuring 20 billion rands worth of goods and services from women-owned enterprises and 9 billion from youth-owned businesses. While the provincial government and our citizens do all in our power to fulfill our special responsibility to grow the provincial economy, we also face increasing demands on our provincial finances. Our provincial population has increased to 14.7 million. Our public health system serves 20 million healthcare users per annum, and our education system now has 2.3 million learners. A combination of improved own revenue collection, a more creative approach to off-budget financing, and tight financial management has enabled us to meet the ever-growing demand for public services. In 2014, we took a conscious decision to increase provincial revenue. Together with our sister departments, we set out to eliminate loopholes in collection mechanisms and promote operational efficiency. Every year during the 5-year term, we surpassed our annual revenue targets. and to date we have collected over 20 billion in own revenue. This is the highest amount raised by any provincial government and goes a long way to explaining why we have managed to keep the province's finances afloat. These resources have been particularly important in keeping teachers, social workers, nurses, and doctors in our frontline institutions. Consequently, we have been able to protect citizens from cuts in health, education, and social services. 5 years ago, we also took a decision to build the capacity of our infrastructure finance agency to develop a project pipeline for alternative and blended financing solutions. As we speak, the West Rand Logistics Hub and Jewelry Manufacturing Precinct are in phase 1 construction, and approval has been received to conclude the PPP agreement with developers of 2 buildings in the Tshwane Innovation Hub that will incubate innovation and smart industries. The GIFA project pipeline now has more than 20 projects, which include the Kopanong Precinct and the Gauteng Schools project. National Treasury has already indicated that it has begun drafting legislation to support the new infrastructure fund announced by President Ramaphosa last year. We are told this fund will offer a range of blended finance solutions for infrastructure projects ready for implementation. It is our belief that the GIFA project pipeline will place Gauteng in an advantageous position to approach the fund for support once work on the regulatory environment is completed. We spoke earlier of Gauteng's significant track record of infrastructure delivery over the past 5 years that has made a considerable contribution to our economic and job creation objectives. Provincial government's investment in infrastructure is estimated to have added 41 billion to the provincial economy over the last 4.5 years, created or sustained 265,000 jobs, and created 499,000 public works opportunities. Another contributor to our GP Budget 2019, Peter Kubuye from Mayfair, says, this province has put a lot of effort in infrastructure development, building roads, clinics, and schools. I want to see this work continue in the future because infrastructure is important to economic growth and job creation. This achievement would not have been possible without significant management reform and initiative known as the Infrastructure Delivery Management System, or IDMS, that has allowed us to average a 97% spend on our infrastructure budget. Our unrelenting policy of only funding shovel-ready projects has paid off, particularly in the departments of transport and education. The Department of Transport has delivered 365.7 kilometers of road rehabilitations and 100 kilometers of which have been upgraded from single to dual carriageways in the last 5 years. The Department of Education has built 52 new schools in the last 5 years. Honourable members, our activist Treasury remains on track in its quest to restore public confidence in our public procurement system and promote open and clean government across the province. Our innovative open tender system has been rolled out in all departments and 6 entities. To date, over 80 projects with a collective value of 18 billion rand have been adjudicated in public. This process has enhanced transparency in government and created significant awareness about public procurement and accountability in decision-making. Treasury received a number of positive comments about the role of the open tender adjudication process is playing in promoting clean government. Mr. Lucas Mabena from Bronkhorstspruit told us, the open tender system is one of the best initiatives that has been introduced by government to stop corruption in tenders. This project must continue and must be introduced nationally. As a supplier within Gauteng, I attended a few public adjudications, and I saw for myself how bids were discussed and decisions on who won, etc., are taken. I'm happy to report to this House that the bill which will enshrine our open tender system in law is now before the Finance Committee. We hope, Madam Speaker, that this House will pass the bill into law before we rise in March. I'm sure you will all agree, honourable members, that we have significantly improved provincial financial management and compliance. This has resulted in 65% clean audits and 100% unqualified audits for all departments and entities for 3 years in a row. I have no doubt that the significant progress we have achieved in this term in establishing a culture of transparency, public accountability, and credible financial controls can, if sustained in the next term, ensure that provincial government achieves its target of 100% clean audits. We are also happy to report to this House that all Gauteng municipalities where audits are complete have received unqualified audits also for the 3rd year in a row. One municipal audit is outstanding, and Midvaal must be congratulated for sustaining its clean audit for 5 years in a row. Honourable members, in the State of the Province address, Premier Makura described Gauteng as the pioneer, laboratory, and leader in the revitalization and transformation of township enterprises into sustainable and job-creating businesses. Honourable members, I am sure our collective experience tells us that the township economy is indeed an idea whose time has arrived. Over the past 5 years, the Gauteng provincial government has procured goods and services to the value of 22 billion from township entrepreneurs. We have registered 32,000 township businesses, many from as far afield as Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Free State, Northwest, on the Gauteng SAP system, which is linked to National Treasury Central Supplier Database. Of the Gauteng-based township enterprises, of which there are about 10 or 11,000, we have used 7,000 in the provincial supply chain. A further 2,500 Gauteng-based township enterprises have received training through our supplier development programs since 2014. Our efforts in this regard have not gone unnoticed by Gauteng residents. Matebe Matebula from Mamelodi says, I own Dika Karapa Construction, which was established in 2010. My company is involved in general maintenance work, and one day I received a call from an agent of the South African Supplier Diversity Agency. They invited me to join a supplier development program that they were involved with the Gauteng government. Since then, we have improved as a company in areas such as corporate governance and financial management. The focus of the Gauteng government has been on how to ensure our companies are sustainable, and we are hoping that in the next few months we will get other projects, this time from the private sector. Martha Sibeko from Pretoria says, when I started my cleaning company 4 years ago, I did not understand how to source government work. One day, a government official from DED told me about the weekly tender workshops that take place at 75 Fox Street. I attended several times for 2 months. Now I understand how the process works, and the attendance is free. So government is working to support particularly us as small businesses from the townships. In an effort to ensure that our procurement opportunities do not undermine the cash flow stability of township and other enterprises, Gauteng has made significant strides in paying our suppliers on time. One of the successful programs that helped us achieve this has been our e-invoicing application, which won a bronze award at the Premier Service Excellence Awards last week. Johan Kruger from Mayville commented online that payment of our invoices has improved since we decided to register for e-invoicing. I think that this is the way to go for Gauteng service providers, so that we can track our invoices and see whether officials are making sure they are paid. If we as small businesses get paid on time, we will grow and create jobs for more people. In compliance with the Public Finance Management Act, and as a direct response to supporting small enterprises, most of our departments now pay 92% of their invoices within 15 days. The Department of Health now pays 68% of its invoices within 30 days, and it makes an effort to ensure that small enterprises are prioritized. Honourable members, this year, we are taking our township economic revitalization strategy one step further with the creation of the Provincial Small and Micro Enterprise Clearinghouse. This partnership between the Gauteng government and the private sector and the University of Johannesburg links township entrepreneurs to those who want to buy their goods and services and those who want to fund and support such partnerships. It is designed not only to develop SMMEs in their own right, but also to link the support of the Youth Employment Service, the YES program, so that township enterprises can host interns from the Tsepo 1 Million partnership. The program will be piloted in Tembisa, Honourable Lusufi, for the first 6 months of this year, and then it will be upscaled in the second half of the year to other areas. Honourable members, I now turn to the budget itself. This Gauteng People's Budget serves as a bridge between the 5th and the 6th administrations. It concludes government programs and projects of this term, whilst being mindful of new priorities that will be addressed by a future administration. This year, we are appropriating 132.4 billion rand, which grows to 150.3 billion in the outer year of the medium-term expenditure framework. This represents a 9% annualized growth rate over the medium term. National transfers in the form of the provincial equitable share and conditional grants amount to 102 billion and 23 billion rand, respectively. Provincial own revenue amounts to 6.3 billion and represents 5% of our budget. The Department of Economic Development continues to lead our drive for economic transformation and recovery. The budget for the department for 2019-20 is 1.6 billion. The department has earmarked funds towards the following programs: 26 million for the upgrading of township hubs and industrial parks, 18.2 million to implement the Akasi Lab program, which now includes the incubation of 80 township IT entrepreneurs, 5 million for the pitching booster that provides financial and non-financial support to township enterprises, 75 million for the Conhill Visitors Centre, 40 million for the Biopark Phase 3 infrastructure project at the Innovation Hub, and 40 million for the superstructure block at the OR Tambo Industrial Development Zone. Honourable members, the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development remains an important contributor to our program of economic transformation. The department's budget grows from 990 million this year to over 1.1 billion in the outer year of the medium term. Key programs receiving funding are 54.6 million for agro-processing, agri-parks, and mainstream urban agriculture, 91.3 million for farmer support and development programs, including fences, boreholes, piggeries, broilers, layers, fertilizers, pesticides, implements, and seed, 32.4 million for the rollout of the Community Vets program to provide veterinary support to small and emerging producers, and 31.9 million for community, backyard and school food gardens. The Department of E-Government receives 1.4 billion this year. Key programs include the Gauteng Broadband Network and the platform for common e-services that are required for a connected city-region government. Honourable members, we are all aware that in recent times, progress on the broadband network has been constrained by fiscal challenges. Today, I'm happy to share with this House that the Executive Council has in principle approved a co-ownership and revenue sharing model. Currently, the provincial government, CETA, Centec, and Broadband Infraco are developing a collaboration model that could see GBN integrated into the national broadband network. Our aim, through collaboration and co-ownership, is to ensure outstanding provincial government facilities are connected and citizens benefit from ease of access to available e-services. Our allocation to the Department of Education, Gauteng's best performing department, in this financial year increases from 45.7 billion to 49.8 billion. Key allocations include 3.7 billion for direct transfers to public ordinary schools, early childhood development sites, 2.9 billion for the special school sector, which caters for learners with intellectual disabilities, 1.3 billion to provide 1.5 million learners with a hot meal at school every day, 1 billion to transport learners who live more than 5 kilometers from the nearest school, and to provide specialized scholar transport to learners who have special learning needs. 815 million is allocated for e-learning devices and e-learner teacher support material, which will continue to transform township schools into functional ICT-enabled learning spaces. 1.6 million is for textbooks, stationery, school furniture, and other learner support materials. 56 million is to improve the teaching of maths and science, and 531 million to improve the grade 12 results and to increase the bachelor pass rates. 1.4 billion to employ more teachers to assist with the ongoing growth of learner numbers. To support young people make the difficult transition from school to the world of work, we will contribute over R500 million for youth development, which is made up as follows: 124 million for Tsepo 1 million, 23.8 million to the expanded public works program to create 7,000 work opportunities, 81.2 million for the National Youth Service Program, which includes Zivoseni, 361 million to provide 6,500 bursaries, learnerships, scholarships, and internships at universities and TVET colleges, 165 million for government internships, 15 million for the Accelerated Youth Placement Program hosted by the Department of Economic Development, and 45.6 million for the Welfare to Work program, which will help a further 46,000 women, inclusive of single mothers, move from dependence on childcare grants to sustainable self-supporting economic activity. In the 2019 medium-term expenditure framework, we are setting aside 33.7 billion for infrastructure. This significant allocation is currently committed to infrastructure programs in development corridors over the next 3 years as follows: 2.9 billion in the southern corridor, 4.9 billion for the western corridor, 3.4 billion for the eastern corridor, 7 billion for the central corridor, and 4.1 billion for the northern corridor. The Department of Human Settlements will this year receive just over half the annual provincial infrastructure budget, an amount of 5.3 billion. This allocation will be used to deliver 10,000 service stands, 21,000 housing units, and 8,000 registered title deeds. The Department of Roads and Transport will receive 1.7 billion in infrastructure money this year. This includes funding the following key projects: Phase 3 of the R114, the construction of Road K101 from Midrand to the N1 Brakfontein interchange, and the upgrading of Beyersnordier into a double carriageway between the R114 and the Peter Road intersection. The K54 from Mamelodi, Tsamaya Road, to the R104 Bronkhorstspruit, and upgrading the R558 to Beckersdal, and the rehabilitation of Road P175 from Vanderbijl to Potchefstroom Phase 2. We will also continue with the implementation of the following road projects in Mfuleni: Vaal River City, the construction of a new interchange and access roads on the R42 from Barrage Road in Vereniging, the rehabilitation of the P156 from P155 to D2568, designs for repairs and maintenance of bridges in the Vereniging region, and regraveling of several roads in the Vereniging region. When we took office in 2014 under the Honourable Premier, we promised the people of Gauteng that good governance will be at the centre of all we do. We promised that corruption will not be tolerated. In an effort to tackle and fight corruption, the Office of the Premier has established the Integrity Management Unit. To achieve this, the Office of the Premier, working in collaboration with all Gauteng departments and the Special Investigation Unit, has developed a four-pillar strategy which includes prevention, detection, building investigative capacity, and ensuring we take disciplinary action and lay criminal and civil charges where necessary. In total, we have allocated 291 million to promoting clean and effective government as follows: 23 million to the Office of the Premier for integrity management and legal services, 151 million for Gauteng audit services and risk management, 47 million for the Gauteng forensic services, and 47 million for the Premier's hotline, where whistleblowers can report concerns that they have. In the State of the Province address, Premier Makura welcomed the new Gauteng Police Commissioner, Lieutenant General Elias Mawela, emphasizing his distinguished career as a skillful and dedicated crime buster. He also welcomed the deployment of high-ranking police officers and shifting of resources to cluster and police stations that have a high crime rate. To support the police services, we have made the following allocations to community safety: 50 million this year to improve community policing forums, community safety forums, and street committees. 69.3 million is allocated over 3 years to fight crimes against women and children. I also want to take this opportunity to congratulate the Department of Community Safety for its efforts that resulted in a 15% decrease in road fatalities over the festive season. We have allocated, Honourable Nkosi Malabani, a further 129 million to enhance road safety through targeted law enforcement operations. Honourable members, as a government, we remain on the side of the most vulnerable in our society. 81% of the budget we table today funds government provisions of health, education, and social services. This year, we have allocated 5.5 billion to the Department of Social Development to be used as follows: 326 million for services for Gauteng's aged, which include resourcing 26 community-based care facilities that provide support to 24,000 older persons, 2.1 billion for services for children, of which 473 million is to fund new early childhood development centers with toys, libraries, and other play equipment, including ablution facilities and standardized meals for children in the poorest wards. This program will benefit 330,000 children. 154 million is allocated for services to people with disabilities, which includes implementation of independent living programs and increasing income earning opportunities in protective workshop services. 92 million to provide people in the poorest households with food parcels this year, and to support learners from families living in poverty. 145 million is allocated for dignity packs and 161 million for school uniforms. 395 million is allocated for the fight against substance abuse and 23 million to the Isibindi program, which combats violence against women and girl children. To increase the number of social workers available in communities, 86 million is added to the budget this year. That will also help us to employ 153 new social workers and 15 million for the placement of 350 social work interns. Honourable members, the Department of Health, their budget increases from 46.8 billion to 50.8 billion, making it the largest provincial allocation. Key allocations are 30 billion to fund personnel, which includes 346 million for the employment of interns and 310 million for the absorption of community health workers. 17 billion to fund goods and services, and this includes the carry-through costs of 1.6 billion per annum commitment we made last year, so that the department can pay off its historical accruals. 148 million for the Cuban Doctor Program, and 150 million is allocated over the medium term for the department to obtain suitable office accommodation following the fire incident at the Bank of Lisbon. 300 million is made available through the Office of the Premier to compensate the families of mental health care users who have been approved by the Master of the High Court as a result of the Life Esedimeni tragedy. The Department of Sports, Arts and Culture and Recreation leads our campaign to promote nation building and social cohesion. This year, the department is allocated 1.1 billion as follows: 54 million to continue construction on 7 community libraries, 17.9 million for the Premier's Social Cohesion and Holiday Games, 35 million for competitive sport, and 35 million for the celebration of our national days. In the coming financial year, both the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs and Treasury will continue to provide the necessary support to municipalities. We are today making the following additional resources to support and intervene in our municipalities. An additional 65 million is allocated to support service delivery in distressed municipalities. We are setting aside 22 million over the medium term to support municipalities in developing the necessary capacity in integrity and ethics management. 25 million over the medium term is allocated to provide municipalities with additional capacity to attend to revenue plans, improve billing data, quality, and implement cost-reflective tariff models. We are setting aside 3.4 billion over the 2019 medium-term expenditure framework for the payment of rates and taxes on behalf of all Gauteng departments to municipalities. As I move towards the end of this address, I would like to thank Gauteng citizens for giving me the opportunity to serve through my election to this House in different capacities for the past 25 years. To Premier Makura, I express my gratitude for your steadfast leadership and enduring example of humble service and commitment to improving the lives of Gauteng's people. I thank my fellow MECs and all the MMCs of Finance for all your cooperation and collegial support over the last 5 years. Appreciation also goes to you, Honourable Speaker, the Chief Whip, Honourable Khumalo, and all honourable members of this House for holding us to your high standards of public accountability. Allow me to say a special word of thanks to Ms. Nomfundo Chabalala and Team Treasury for their diligent management of our provincial finances. I am sure you all agree, honourable members, that we are indeed blessed to have such dedicated and effective public servants. And lastly, allow me a personal word of thanks to my family, Gita, Kwanda, and Sean, who spent their babyhood in this legislature and who now hold me to account in that robust and fearless way of Gauteng's energetic youth. Honourable members, I want to conclude today with a quote from the Barack Obama Nelson Mandela Lecture 2018, delivered here in Johannesburg on the 18th of July last year. I have chosen this quote because it speaks to this moment in our history, a moment when we need all of us to stand up and support President Ramaphosa's vision of growth and renewal for our country. A vision that advances the values of our Constitution and once again places at the center of our agenda the needs of the poor, the unemployed, the marginalized, and the dispossessed. It is a vision we will only achieve if each and every one of us, in our different ways and locations, works to make it a reality. Former President Barack Obama said, and I quote, "What we need right now, we don't just need one leader. We don't just need one inspiration. What we badly need right now is that collective spirit." And you know that those young people, those hope carriers, are gathering around the world. Because history shows that whenever progress is threatened and the things we care about most are in question, we should heed the words of Robert Kennedy spoken here in South Africa. He said, "Our answer is in the world's hope. It is to rely on youth. It is to rely on the spirit of the young." So young people who are in the audience, who are listening, my message to you is simple. Keep believing, keep marching, keep building, keep raising your voices. Every generation has the opportunity to remake the world. Mandela said, "Young people are capable, when aroused, of bringing down the towers of oppression and raise the banners of freedom." Now is a good time to be aroused. Now is a good time to be fired up. And to those of us who care about the legacy that we honor here today, about equality and dignity and democracy and solidarity and kindness, those of us who remain young at heart, if not in body, we have an obligation to help our youth succeed. Honourable members, may the Gauteng spirit of eternal optimism, resilience, and excellence move our province and our country ever forward. I salute you all. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Christie. Can we read the second order?
Introduction of the Gauteng Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill, G004 of 2019 for 2018-2019 financial year.
Honorable Christie.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I hereby wish to introduce the Gauteng Provincial Appropriation Bill. The Provincial Second Adjustment Appropriation Bill 2018-19 in terms of Rule 2171, read with Rule 2191 and 2 of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature Standing Rules. Thank you very much.
The budget has been placed on the table. We take note of that. That concludes the end of business for the day. Our next meeting is on Tuesday, the 19th of March at 10 hours sharp. Thank you very much, honorable members. The House is now adjourned. Chief Whip, can I respect you?